Hey there, friends. How's it going? Richard here. Wanted to share this video particularly for real estate agents. So the question is very simply like 2023 was suffice to say, like a very volatile and in many respects challenging year for real estate professionals of all kinds, real estate attorneys, real estate agents and brokers, mortgage professionals, title companies. It was challenging. The question is, and while things like towards the end of 2023 into 2024 have kind of like reined in a bit and kind of slightly improving, the question is like how do we recover, right? If you're a real estate professional. And so I thought I'd share some insight as to a workflow that I've been using for my own practice. And I think if you're a real estate agent, any kind of real estate professional, but I'm going to tailor this video to real estate agents particularly. Like, what can you do while the market is kind of like correcting itself? There were a ton of mortgage professionals that left the industry. Lots of real estate agents left the industry. So right now, while business is still, or at least inventory, hopefully starts picking up and moving soon to some higher levels. What can we do as real estate professionals? And I think one of the best things that anyone can do, any business really, but particularly service-based businesses like real estate professionals, is to do brand building. And brand building using very targeted content. And content, I'm talking about blog posts. Why is that? Like, everyone wants to do social media, wants to do ads. And the reason is, in theory, those are quick hits. The thing is, with ads, really expensive and you really have to know what you're doing. With social media, you can put a post all you want, but really, like, think about the scrolling situation. Your post may appear on a feed for like a minute, and then after that it disappears, right? So you want something that, if you're going to put the work in, you want it to live on for time, right? Eternal. And that's why blog posts are really powerful. It's like, it takes more work than those other things up front, but it lives forever. It does work for you month after month after month, year after year. And once you do it, it's like compound interest. It's so good. And I don't see very many real estate professionals doing this. A lot of real estate agents, particularly that I know, rely on like those straight out of the box template websites. Don't really add any content. And then what do you have? You have an industry where a lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm experienced, I'm reliable, I'm knowledgeable." But what basis do you have to back that up? And I think you can really separate yourself as a professional by creating content. So I'm going to run through with you my content creation workflow. And again, you can, if you're in any business, any service-based business, you can use this workflow. Now, there are some tools involved. You can do this without software tools, but tools make it a lot easier and really help. If you're going to put the work in, make sure it's going somewhere. Right. So before anything else, just in terms of content creation workflow, there's like 3 major parts to it. Right? You have number 1 is going to be keyword or topic research. You can write about whatever you want, but really people are searching for certain things, and you want to make sure that you create that people are searching for. Now, what I mean by that, if you don't know, Google as a search engine, what it does when people type in whatever search, the topic or the search term, the words inside Google is trying to answer that question. Now, sometimes there are things that are exactly on point, and then there are other times where Google can't find anything exactly on point, so it'll give what it believes is the best answer. Now, what kind of influences what's on point? It's going to be like the keyword itself, right? It's going to be like the domain, the business, or the person. There's a lot of factors that go into like ranking on Google, but if you can create content that answers a very specific question, directly answering that users find helpful, that's going to help you boost to number 1, and that's what we're going to do in this content creation workflow. So the first step in any kind of content creation process is going to be keyword, topic research. Like, what exactly are we going to create content around? And in this case, what are we going to write a blog post about? Number 2 is going to be content ideation. Once we figure out a search term, what exactly is the content that we're going to create? What should it look like? What should it feel like? What should it sound like? And then number 3 is the actual content creation process, getting this thing written out, published, and so on and so forth. So let's hop right into it, because I'm super excited to share this with you. Now, I will disclaim this. This is not for anyone who isn't willing to do the work. This isn't for someone who's lazy. Like you've got to put in work. And the reason is, especially today with all of these, there's a ton of generative AI tools. The most famous one being ChatGPT. Then you got Google Bard and all these other AI tools. That in theory, you could just like use those tools, pump out content, and then see it. But like it won't do it justice because the user experience may be bad. And if you just keep having bad user experience, no one's going to click on your stuff and you're not going to rank on it. So you want to create content that's helpful, right? And so like this, I touched on it a little earlier. You have to put in a little more work now. It's not an immediate hit. You don't put up a blog post and all of a sudden you're ranking #1 on Google, possibly. But like it's taking time. There's time to create this content, and then there's time that you got to wait and let it saturate and let it get better and better over time. Now, another caveat that I will say is that in terms of Google rank, I'm not saying that I'm an SEO expert, but there are a lot of different factors that will go into where Google ranks your content. One of them is going to be like how optimized is your content and how responsive is it to like what people are typing in the search box. Another thing is going to be domain authority. If you're competing against like in this instance like a well-known real estate brand, like that domain has a ton, that's 30, 40 years old. That domain has a ton of authority behind it. And we'll take a look at like some of those examples as we go forward. If you're just seeing this video, like, I'm going to start a blog tomorrow, like you've got to build up your domain reputation. And by doing this content regularly and knocking out a whole bunch of pieces of content, like that's how you'll build brand authority. We're going to leverage technology so that we create content. So for instance, if you've got a website that's low authority, relatively new, if we create optimized content, it's a factor that weighs. So like we'll really stack the odds in our favor to rank higher on Google and start getting leads from the content that we put out. All right, so that because the whole goal of this is that we're putting out content to get leads. All right, so this is the workflow. Very simple, 3 big steps. Let's dive into step #1, keyword topic research. I like using a tool called Writer's End. There's a ton. If you just search for keyword research tools, ton of them. Some of the big players are like Ahrefs, SEMrush. I've been using Writer's End. One of the reasons why I recommend it is because I got it on a lifetime deal, meaning I paid once, I can use it for a lifetime. And so it's just saving money, right? A lot of these tools, software tools, are on like a monthly subscription. But if you can get something that you pay one time and it's done with, great. Another one-time plan is like Ubersuggest. I'll put links in the description so you can find those there. But I like Writer's End. They've been really improving the tool, adding lots of metrics and things that really help you to find terms that you can rank for relatively quickly. So I highly suggest if you don't have a keyword research tool or you're open to like checking out a new one, I definitely check out Writer's End. And again, they've got this lifetime deal going on right now that you can take advantage of, pay one time, and then you'll get all the features, all the updates and whatnot for the life of your subscription. So I'm going to log in real quick and we'll start doing our keyword research. One reason why I really like Writer's End is because they've laid it out in this product. We'll walk through this map here, but we'll start off with Keyword Explorer. Keyword Explorer is basically you take a term and search for it, and let's see what kind of like search volume related terms that are going on. So we're going to click here to explore a new keyword. All right, so I'm creating this for real estate agents, right? So we're going to create bottom of funnel content, meaning like we want to create content for searches that someone who's looking for a real estate agent right now would likely type in. So what does that stuff look like, right? Think about food. If you're hungry and you want, I'm craving whatever, it's gonna be like the best pizza in whatever city, the best gym in whatever city, right? So the same thing, we're gonna create content right now. One of our first pieces of content is gonna be best real estate agent in whatever city. So best real estate, and I'm gonna use a place that I visited before, Denver, Colorado, right? Somewhat of maybe a top 10 size city, but English. Let's roll. Let's see what we get here. Disregard search volume for now, and I'll show you why in a minute. Some other tools, like if you did best real estate agent New York City, there's going to be a ton of searches, right? But like as you get into smaller cities, smaller towns, like search volume goes down, which is good. But just you got to put blinders on and just do the work to find, like, attack keywords and terms that people are searching for, so that you can rank quickly and start getting those leads. So here we go, SERP. What this is like, writers then went out and then entered this in Google, and these were the top 10 results. As you can see, Zillow is like just an aggregate listing site. Directory 5280 looks like another, let's click it and see what it looks like, right? It's another directory site. If we go back into Writer's End, Real Trends is probably going to be like an aggregator site. All these are like aggregator sites. There's not real content. Well, maybe might be a, okay. All right, so here we got, finally, it says like one real estate brokerage. So there you go. That's like what we're competing against. Everything else, realtor.com, Reddit is not really a competitor real estate agent, right? And all these are aggregator sites, which is either you pay or register and then your info is on there. So that's why they're there. But also think about Zillow. Zillow is like one of the main, like a large player in the real estate space in the United States. So they've also got domain authority. And that's what I meant. Like you've got to balance domain authority, length of time the website has been up, and then the content as well. So those are the factors that Google is going to analyze. So if you've got a relatively unknown website, you want to stack the deck in your favor by creating content that is really, really good. So we're going to focus on that, the thing that we can control. All right, so we're going to go down here, keyword ideas. Here are keywords related to the search term we entered, best real estate agent, Denver, Colorado. And then if we can capture the market, we're getting 1,600 searches from this term. So that's what we want, right? We want to get search traffic to us. Now, as you can see, I said disregard the search volume, because here you go, here are all the related keywords, and as you can see, there is in fact search volume, 200, 170, 110, and this is great. Like if we can start capturing these visitors, these are people who are searching these terms, best realtors in Denver, top real estate agents in Colorado, top Denver real estate companies, wherever. If you're watching this from some other city, some other town, like you just replace Colorado and Denver with where you're from, and you can see like people are searching for it. And yeah, it may not be 100,000 searches a month, but you're looking at 210 people are actively searching for this specific term. So we want to create content that answers any questions or the questions that people searching this term may have. We want to give Google this to use. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these keywords, and this is going to be Writer's End specific. Other tools may have other metrics and other ways of doing it, but this is why I really like Writer's End. What I want to do is filter this list down even further to keywords where I have a greater possibility of ranking #1. I don't know anything about these keywords other than there's some search volume. When advertisers pay for Google ads, they're paying, for instance, this is a really competitive keyword. So people are spending a lot of money on these keywords, top Denver real estate companies, top real estate companies, Denver. But I don't know like how easy it may be for me to rank that keyword. Like if I create a blog post, is this going to be easy to rank? This doesn't, the search volume and the cost per click doesn't really tell me that. But Writer's End does have a feature. And again, every keyword tool is going to be different how they do this. But Writer's End has some really cool features. So let's jump into that now. Whittle this list down to keywords that if all you have is the ability to create a blog post, that it's going to be stacking the deck in your favor, that blog post is going to rank #1 on Google and get you leads. So we're going to add all these keywords. I'm just going to select all of them, add to list, new. I like to do just so I keep it organized. Seed keyword. What was the keyword? Best real estate agent, Denver, Colorado. Oh, I love Denver when I was out there. If you're watching this and you're from Denver, that's great. Okay, so we just added all of these keywords, and it's not a lot. It's 19 keywords to this keyword list. Now we're going to go to the next thing in Writer's End, which is Keyword Planner. It goes from Keyword Explorer. We just like figure out what kind of keywords I may be using, topics, and then we go to Keyword Planner to start figuring out how exactly we're going to use these keywords. So I'm going to use the same best real estate agent, Denver, Colorado. Then I'm going to import the keywords that I just added. And then one of the first things that Writer's End does is that it clusters the keywords. So it goes through them and analyzes the search, like it enters each of these keywords into like its Google search in the back end. And then it sees which terms show up in the same pieces of content, and it starts grouping them together. The idea being that if you can rank for one of them, you would likely rank for other terms. So instead of, in this case, we had 19 keywords, instead of writing content for all 19, there's probably like if we write 7 pieces of content wisely, we could rank for all 19 terms. So it just cuts down the work and makes things a lot better. Okay? And it's like topical authority is another thing that it kind of tries to achieve. So let's see what we get here when we aggregate this data. All right, so here's how it clustered everything. So here's like the big topic. Denver's finest is going to include all the keywords, but we don't care about that. This is like the real powerful thing inside of Writer's End, these clusters. Basically, if you choose to write this article and you can rank #1 for it, top real estate agents in Denver, the idea is that you would likely rank highly for all of these search terms. So and this one, how much real estate agents make in Colorado, same kind of thing. If you do an article based on that, you'd probably rank for these 2 keywords, but we're going to stick with this one. Excuse me. All right, so now I said there's some other metrics that I want to use to whittle this list down. So I'm going to actually just choose all the keywords that were included in this. I'm going to add a filter, and the first one is going to be golden score. Now, golden score is some metric that someone created in the online space to say that if you look at the search volume plus the number of entries that pieces of content out there that are created, like that ratio, if it's a certain this like 1 to 10, you're highly likely to rank. And then everything beyond, like it starts getting harder, or those words or the keywords are no good or whatnot. So it's just a metric. Basically, I rely on Writer's End for its algorithm power. I'm just going to say, so you can see SERP position, I want to see the keywords that I have a high probability, at least Writer's End thinks I have a high probability of ranking #1. I'm just going to like shift it all the way down. All right, so now you see it's whittled down quite a bit. Another filter that I want to use is, which I haven't seen in many other tools, which is why again I like Writer's End, is this all in title. Now what all in title means is that it's looking at how many times the exact search term. So for instance, this top realtors in Denver, Colorado, how many times does that actually show up in the title of the Google search results? Because the idea is like a well-optimized article for a particular term would include that term in the title, right? It's like one way to tell Google, hey, I want to be found for this term. So if you want to be like aid or increase your probability of being found for a certain term, you want to include that term in the title. So here, top real estate realtors in Denver, Colorado, if that, sorry, let's just do the all in title filter and then we'll check it out. So I want to know, I don't want any terms that have appeared more than once, right? Like for instance, let's just see, do we have the all in title here? If we check this out, okay, so none of them appear anyway, so we're good to begin with. If we, let's see, I'm going to clear a filter real quick so I can demonstrate the power of the all in title. Here we go. Top real estate agents in Denver, the all in title score is 6 here. That means when Writer's End went out and searched for this exact term, 6 different results, so basically 6 different companies included this term in the content title. So whatever page was found on Google included this term in the title. That tells us that those 6 businesses are trying to be found for this keyword, right? And again, $9.13. It's a very competitive keyword. 200 searches per month. Let's see these here. Like for instance, these keywords here: best real estate agent in Denver, best realtor in Denver, Colorado. Okay, 170 searches per month. Very high. People are paying, these like real estate agents, real estate brokerages in Denver are paying a nice penny for every click. But check this out. Nobody's created content that includes this specific in the title. Like that's very powerful to know, right? If you're a real estate agent, you want to create start ranking for something. Look at this. Like you've got search volume, it's very competitive. People are paying out the wazoo for that. And then you've got nobody has created a piece of content that includes this in the title, right? So nobody's optimizing for that. So it makes it very easy to find keywords that you like. There's not very much competition. So that's why I want to demonstrate the all in title. So again, golden score, we're going to put that back to 1 because I want to see the easiest keywords to rank for, and I'm going to say this the max. All right, cool. So now we're left with this. And again, we're going to use it basically, if we rank for this, the idea is that we'll rank for all of these things. things, right? We can pick a keyword here. Again, if you want to use best real estate agent Denver, like that could be the keyword that we can try to aim to rank. So next in Writer's End, again, I just like the way it moves us from EU Explorer to Planner. Now we found like what are we going to create the content around? Like what is it going to look like? So the next phase is going to be the content creator. Before we jump to that tab, I'm just going to choose this cluster is what we're going to create the content around. And it now like Writer's End's generative AI capabilities come in. You can create like an automatic content brief. So it'll be just like, what's the theme of this article? Who's the audience and what? And that's really powerful stuff that you can use to start jump ahead of like writing the article. Okay, I don't know why it usually pops up here, but let's just go ahead and create the article. Choose new project. We're gonna say seed keyword again was best real estate agent Denver, Colorado. Okay. Then we've got some options. Okay, this strategy is not for the lazy at heart. Okay. It would be easy to just say write the whole article, but we don't want to do that because there's a lot of context that these generative AI tools don't have that we as the professional need to include. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if you want to, you could have it write the whole article because you're going to edit it no matter what. Okay, and I'm going to actually, let's do this. I generally like to just have it do article description and outline, but let's have it write the whole article because I'm going to show you a second step in the content creation piece. Because now we're jumping into content creation. We're done with keyword research. Where's my little sheet? We're done with keyword topic research, right? We found the term that we're looking for. Content ideation. We're seeing what we're going to create, right? We see that everything else was just an aggregate website. So basically, we can create a nice little article talking about maybe like what makes a great agent for a first-time home buyer or something like that. That could be the thing. And then the next step, the topic or the thesis of the article, the next and final step is going to be the actual content creation, which is where we're at right now. This is going to be content creation. I've scaled back. Like I like you starting with an outline, right? And then building out the outline, because I think when you build out the outline, it gets a lot better. But for this purposes, just to jump ahead, let's just have this thing write the whole article. Advanced settings, I'm going to add keywords in case whatever, blah, blah, blah. You can change, if you have like a writing team, you hire someone on Fiverr, you can send this information to them. This is the content brief. Again, let's see. Let's just say our content audience is going to be first-time home buyers. Author perspective is going to be first person real estate agent. I'm going to say I like making my things friendly. Let's do comparison. Let's do blog post. Content angle. An informative article describing unique, city of Denver, Colorado, including all the nature and outdoors and the importance of finding the best real estate agent to work with buying a home in Denver. And again, if you have a writing team, you can include other notes in here if you want. So done, general, blah, 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 blah. Let's create our article. At this point, the Writer's End AI tool kicks in. It's going to create some article. So let's see what it's giving us. And we're back. So as you can see, like we've got an article to start. Again, I think to start with, because it's not, I the Writer's End article writer not to be very good. It's got some stuff to work on, but it gives us a start. So now what we can do here is if we want to keep playing with it, we can work on the outline. And what it does is like, it tells us this is the outline that we have. If we want to see what other people have written, you can see here what their outline looks like. But again, the content they've created is not, that was out there was all like aggregate and listing websites, except for that one website, keywords. And we're going to jump to this in the next tool that I want to show you. So keywords, basically like Writer's End thinks that to get this right now, it has a diagnostic, right? So this article is rated a C. It thinks for us to rank, well, we need at least about 1,000 words. We're at 500. We've got good headings, right? So 4 different sections, whatever, a nice paragraph. So it's like chunked up, not like big text chunks. And then we need to add images. So this is the way we can use this as a guideline to improve our article. If you the keywords here, right, to improve the score as you type and as you edit, if you start adding those keywords. So for instance, real estate agents drive a lot in their cars, right? It should show up here. I don't know why it's not. Okay, because it says we've used 2 of 7, right? So in here, back to keywords, it wants us to use these keywords this many times. So for instance, it wants us to use the term real estate agents 7 times. Let's do 1, agent real estate. At that point, it checks off. So we improve our score. But again, it's not about just adding these keywords, right? We got to make it like sound good, make it readable and whatnot. So that's why I like using this as the next tool we're going to jump into, which is like more about the optimization of this article and getting it ready to publish, is something called phrase.io. Okay, what Phrase is, and there's again a number of these tools out there, they are SEO optimization softwares. And what it means is that it'll kind of like it did in Writer's End, it's going to go out, search for the term that we want to rank for, and then come back with an analysis as to what we need to include or add to our content to give us the best chance at ranking #1 or in the top of the Google search. So I'm going to hop back in. This is my account here, and we're going to create a new document. Also, at the time of this recording, I will let you know this is Phrase like version 1.0. It's been out for a couple of years now, but they're about to release a version 2.0 by the end of the first quarter 2024. So if you are thinking about getting an SEO, this is probably my favorite SEO optimization tool. I've got a few other ones, like for instance, you see in Writer's End, the back end, it's kind of wishy-washy, but Phrase is probably like the top-notch tool that I've been using. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. It's such a good tool. All right, so we're going to go back to new document and we're going to create new content. If you do have blog posts, you can come in here to optimize existing content. Just put in the URL here, what you want to rank for. And the same thing, it'll analyze it and tell you like, here's your score. So let's see what it looks like. So we said best real estate agent, Denver, Colorado, and then we're going to general, create the document. Okay, now it's a very simple dashboard. All we're going to do is hit let's go. And what Phrase does in the background for like a minute is that it pulls the top 20 results from the Google search results. And so it'll see, like, it'll start identifying the terms that all of these top results have and like how frequently they appear, essentially giving you an idea of like what you need to make sure you talk about and address in your blog so that it's like a complete look at the topic. All right, so we're going to jump here, start the outline. If you wanted to create an outline, this is where you go back to Writer's End. Like I like to start with an outline, get the outline really well developed. Like what are the things that I want to talk about in this, right? If you're talking about best real estate agent, what are the things that a buyer or seller should think about with a real estate agent? Is this their full-time job? How many years have they been doing this? Do they service like these neighborhoods, this county, or are they trying to go all over the place? Do they have a team behind them? What's their average listing to contract time, right? All those things, these are questions that you could answer and I think are good for heading. With Phrase though, whatever, well, just like we can generate because it's already analyzed the top 20 results, right? If you do select headings from search results, you can see the top 20 results here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we can pick and choose, like if, so for instance, Lisa Sollenberger, not really something I'm gonna write about, right? Because it has no relevancy to like what makes or question, right? Or like how to find the best real estate agent in Denver, Colorado for you. Like that's, I think, what we're gonna focus on this article. So look, this is a cool topic, right? The Denver, Colorado housing market, that demonstrates like expertise and knowledge, right? So we want to add that to our outline. Again, Patrick Murray, sure, it's a nice guy, but we're not going to do that. Why you need, so they're answering the very simple question, why you need a top real estate agent. So we're going to do that. Denver median listing price, that's a good, I think, heading, right? Again, showing Denver's population data. You can see here like parks, schools, like whatever, right? These are things you may want to look for, right? Professionalism, responsiveness, listens, okay? Questions. And then this might be in the conclusion. How soon are you looking to, like something like that, a call to action is what we want. All right, we're not going to include that team. They how we find top agents, la 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 la, FAQ, maybe an FAQ, like you can create, these are the questions you want to ask any real estate agent that you're working with or thinking about working with, right? So that's going to be at the end. All right, we've got 9 headings here. Let's just continue. Again, with phrase, now you can do instructions. Like for each of these headings, there's an AI component, and depending on your subscription, like how much access to AI you have, or there's an add-on, like you can pay extra for unlimited AI. But you can add in here instructions like, hey, include these keywords, don't make it first person when you mention the business, blah blah blah. We're going to skip this for now because we've already done some work in Writer's End, and we're just going to incorporate that into our workflow. So let's see, where's my outline? Okay, paste. So here's our outline. And then now, before I get to that, let's get our Writer's End article. Oh, optimize before we paste in the article. So here's topic score, right? And this is 1%. Basically, it's saying that of the search results that it searched for this term, we are at like 1% optimization. The average score is 28%, and we want to get here. Here are the competitors. This Fast Expert is ranked number 6, but they've got a highly optimized page, whatever that is. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, so that's the aggregate site. So it might be easy to be this website probably has like a lot of domain authority. Again, because like each of these are going to be breakout pages and profiles, it's going to say real estate and all those things a ton of times, but whatever. There's not really good content. Agent Pronto, let's see what they got. They're at 81%. Okay, nice. Buying, selling, compare the top. All right, this is again a aggregate website. I'm sure if you click here, it's like a lead generation website, and they sell those leads. Is probably what's going on here. Jason Cummings. Oh, that's the one we saw earlier, I think, right? Yeah. Okay, Compass. All right, cool. So now you see, like, this is probably the content we're up against. If we wanna, the FAQ is probably like is the bulk of the article that it's pulling in here. Anyway, so you see, like, we have an opportunity here. It probably gets worse and worse as we get down. It's all like listing sites. But we're gonna create an article that people actually can read, enjoy, and find value. Where are we here? So that's that. All right, so let's go back to Writer's End. That's what I wanted to do. And then we're going to export. Unfortunately, you got to do this as like a doc. I guess I could have Control C or see something if I can do that. Yeah, it's so weird the way. Okay, I'm going to hop in here. And then we're going to say how to find, our article title is going to be how to find the best real estate agent Denver CO for you, right? All right, I just pasted the article that Writer's End created. Let's go back here and see. So we've jumped up. That gets us up to 25%, right? Now what we start doing is if we want to build out this article, we just start adding our own content, right? So the Colorado housing market summary. If you're a real estate agent, maybe include stats or something like that. The Denver real estate. I don't know like much about Denver real estate, but while 2023 was challenging for real estate across the United States, properties. Now, what you want to start doing is looking. I like to do topic gap, which means like the terms that you haven't used so far in the article. Properties Denver have been flying. Let's see, the average, let's start with this term, right? Days on market. Once you do that, as you can see, it's no longer a term that we have to worry about. It's been used and our score has gone up. So once you start doing that over and over, start building out this content, you'll just keep optimizing this score. Let's see, I want to do, I think phrase, I can do a command, paragraph and paragraph generator. Let's do creativity 3, run the template. So this is another thing in phrase, those AI answers that you get, again, has AI built in. And as you can see, it just creates content for you on the fly. And in this paragraph that it just generated, added some of these terms. I don't know which ones, but as you can see, our score went up. Basically, what you do is optimize this article as much as possible, right? So you can use phrase to or whatever tool you want, ChatGPT or some other generative AI tool, to create the entire document. But again, at its core, you're gonna have to come in here, manually edit, and this is where the hard part comes in. You can create an article in a minute, right? Using some of these tools, but they don't really do much, right? They don't really say anything. Use it as a template or as a first draft, and then come in here and then edit it. Like the beauty of Denver, Colorado, if that's going to be the first heading, talk about it. Like if you're a real estate agent in Denver, Colorado, talk about why. This is really easy to say, like why Denver, why a potential buyer who's looking for a real estate agent in Denver, Colorado should want to move to Denver, Colorado, right? Or like move within Colorado Springs or region, whatever it is. Like it's an easy paragraph to do, and you can again add headings like nature and outdoor, parks, Denver Broncos, like all those things, like breweries, all the things that are there, right? And then just answer these questions, right, as you go down. If we just keep going through here, like it's probably really easy. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did before. Paragraph generator, professionalism. I'm going to say here also include a statement that, I'm going to say write in the first person, right? In the first person that I return phone calls within 24 hours. Okay, run template. And look at that. When it comes, I always strive to go, it's writing in the first person. That's why I'm making my priority to return phone calls within 24 hours. Also notice we bumped our score up to 39%. This is why Phrase, I think, is a really cool tool. Like you can use these AI generative instructions to create content that's really honed in, really tight. And then you can just, after this, either send it to an editor if you want to use someone off of Fiverr, whatever the case is, but it gets really easy to get this thing super optimized. As you can see, we started off at like, what, 2%, 1%? We're at 39%, climbing up in the rankings in the top 20. Just get this out and then publish it, and then do this for several different things. You can keep searching for best whatever in whatever keyword tool, like Writer's End. If we want to go back and just find other topics, another one would be like just, let's see, best, I'm going to do wildcard here, best real estate agent, the stars wildcard in Denver. Let's see what we get. And you just start pumping out content like this. But what are people searching for? Best this. I wouldn't necessarily say like free or cheap or whatnot. How to be the best real estate agent, maybe not something we're looking for. What percentage do real estate agent makes? There's probably better terms out there. But you can play around with it, like best parks. If you're trying to get buyers into you, right? Somebody's going to read this article, for instance, best real estate agents. And if you have here, like in Embracing Nature, here are like 5 of my favorite parks in Denver, Colorado. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like Park 1, list of why it's one of my top parks. 2, why it's my top parks. And then each one of those parks can break out into another article. Again, I'm saying Denver, Colorado as an example. You can do this for wherever. New York City, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Texas, Houston, whatever cases. You can do this wherever, how, Indianapolis. Very simple. Start you building, like this is an easy way to build content out, start ranking on Google, and start getting hot leads, real estate leads that are qualified. Because think about it, if somebody's going to click on that, they're going to read your article here, like they're checking out your stuff. They're not just this thing filling out, I'm selling, I'm buying. They're actually coming in here, reading your content, and then reaching out to you to work with you. So again, hopefully you found this helpful. Remember the 3-step process: content creation. You want to do keyword or topic research. I would highly recommend, I don't know how long this deal was going to last for Writer's End, but if you're watching this and you check it out, get the lifetime deal. I think it's a great value. They continuously add other features to it that make finding these like really good keywords where you can get quick wins really good. Then the second thing is going to be Phrase. Phrase, again, is for SEO optimization. You put an article in here, you want to get as close to 100 as possible. I would say at least 80%, but as you can see here, we're fighting against Agent Pronto here, so I'd want to get up to like 85 or 90% at least. 100% might be like over optimized. It gets kind of tricky with some of those topics. Like some topics may not matter to you, but you pick and choose whatever it is. But I think as at a floor, you want to go around 80, 85% to really get up here and have your stack the odds in your favor so that your content will rank. Do this once a week, once every 2 weeks. Your competitors are not doing this. Again, this isn't a strategy for the lazy out there. This can be for any business, but we're talking about real estate agents and real estate professionals. If you just search for other real estate agents in your area, I'm pretty confident you won't find this content strategy out there. And once you do this, you put in some work for a couple of months, you'll start to see results relatively quickly, and you'll jump ahead in Google. Great thing about that stuff, again, once you publish this article, it lives forever. As long as there's internet, as long as your website is up, it continues to live. So once it starts driving traffic, it like grows on itself, like compound interest. So I highly encourage you to take me up on this. Again, links to descriptions and tools. If you have any thoughts about this strategy, any questions, drop them in the comments below. And until next time, you take care, be well,